Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Lindsey, Shane, and I are back for more Survivor 50 preseason coverage. The three of us are going to talk about what seasons are best for newbies to watch to get into Survivor, and also what seasons are best to watch in preparation for season 50. So what are your guys' general thoughts? I mean, what criteria are we using here for newbies and for people to watch for season 50?
I mean, for me, in terms of the list about preparing for 50, my criteria really revolves around the characters that are on 50. So there's some amazing seasons that define the evolution of Survivor, but since they don't have anyone on 50, they're not on this list. So all of my seasons kind of highlight big characters and their main moments, and kind of reflect the gameplay that I think they're going to bring into 50 and the legacies they're bringing in.
Yeah, for sure. I think I had some similarities on my lists for that, for sure, because it's definitely if they're not on 50, then I didn't necessarily want to include them for that. And then newbies is just seasons I would enjoy showing to new people to get them into the show. And certain seasons might not be recommended by some people, but I know I've shown it to my cousins or friends in college and whatnot, and they at least were able to watch the rest of the season. So I've had success with that. But
yeah, for me, on the list of showing new player or new viewers, I think it's very similar to yours. But also I looked for things that kind of define what Survivor is and what we all love about it, that stand out. Also, big character moments. Tried to steer away from returning players if possible, but that's kind of tough because those are also some of the best seasons. So it's striking the balance between getting new players to see what we love in Survivor, and then they can go watch those amazing seasons once they've met the characters. But I mean, it's also so subjective because it depends a lot on who the new person is. Are they into more old school survival stuff? Because if they are, then I'm going to recommend some of the older seasons. If they're into character moments, I'm going to recommend something different. If they really just weird strategies that come up all the time and almost board game stuff, maybe I should push them towards the 30s and new era more.
Yeah, agreed. Lindsey, what about you? What criteria do you use?
Hey guys, we're back here for Survivor 50 and Survivor 50 content. Pretty much agreeing with Shane here. I'm looking at the characters, I'm looking at the storylines, I'm looking at what can make sense for 50, but also acknowledging and being appreciative of the seasons that we've seen before. There's so many fun moments that define a character or story arc that we're about to talk about on the best seasons to watch pre-50 or just in general. So let's come in. There's so many great people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm ready to get into this if you guys are. So, so we're going to start with best seasons to watch for newbies. We each came up with our lists and we came up with a little more than 10. We'll kind of cut a few seasons out of this, and then we will do the best for 50 in the same way. So there will be a slightly different discussions for both. But let's start with the newbies. And the first one in chronological order that at least two of us had would be Pearl Island season 7. Of course, the pirate theme. We got Rupert, we got Johnny Fairplay, we got Andrew Savage, and we got the Queen, Sandra Diaz Twine. Some other fun characters that have not returned at this point. But I mean, this is a great old school season. It does start off really well. I did show Will and JJ this on the channel a couple years ago to try to be oh, let's do a Survivor for noobs, and they enjoyed it. We enjoyed talking about it. What are your guys' thoughts on Survivor Pearl Islands?
As the only person that did not put this on my list, but I wish I did, can we talk about the first 10 to 15 minutes? It's the most entertaining part of Survivor in my opinion, 49 years of history, or 49 seasons, 20 plus years.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's this the barter in the village where they're having to trade money for supplies, Panamanian money. It's such a fun start, and you have Rupert stealing shoes, pirates pillage. It's such a fun moment in the show's history, and I'm shocked that they don't go back to this, what made the start of this season so good, and like immediately gets you into this theme. I also love like the transitions and like a treasure map, or like the music like is really unique. Even obviously the challenges, like everything just fits to make this like a fun pirate themed season that no other season has been quite like.
Yeah, and I think the theme of it is actually one of the main reasons why it would appeal to someone who's never seen Survivor before, because most people have heard of Survivor, but they would think of it as a show where like, oh yeah, people are surviving on the island with no food and whatever, and they're like stranded. Well, this is the theme here, so you get that, but like you also get some of the beginnings of what Survivor is now, where it's fundamentally not even about that anymore. It's a strategic and social game, and like this season really has a lot of that, but it still has that survival aspect. So I think if you have like a new person that's watching it and you give them 49, they're like, this is not what I thought of Survivor. Like they're not really even surviving anymore.
Yeah.
For Pearl Island's like that's still there.
Yeah, that's something that is fun to watch too, and like you still get like even a really entertaining, like not just the challenge but even like the scramble leading up to tribal, where like Nicole Delma is like basically gonna start throwing everybody under the bus and like being like super aggressive in her strategizing, and that's going to get her kicked off first, as opposed to like an instant liability like Skinny Ryan, who is like immediately outcasted and seen as like a challenge weakness. So
yeah.
I agree. Like you could mail any newbie, like never seen Survivor, give them like a tie-dye t-shirt, tell them to watch the season, and they're gonna love the characters. The characters are so real, and so you can feel them this season. I think Pearl Islands does that really well with Sandra, Rupert, Burton, Lil, whoever. You just feel the characters here.
agreed.
Right. And it has things like, it has a little bit of everything. Like it has the survival aspect, it has the characters, it has the strategy, it has twists. I mean, this is the first time we have like players returning in the game with the outcast twist.
Yes.
And it's also like, if the new viewer is someone that has watched other reality TV shows, like, I don't know a better way to say it, so I'm going to say like the trashy ones, kind of like the MTVs, the ones where it's all about drama and fighting. I mean,
Yeah.
Cough, cough, MTV.
yeah, like Johnny Fairplay is kind of like a character from one of those shows. So like, if you're into those, this might help you get into Survivor.
Yeah.
I even put Big Brother in that sense in a little bit, because Big Brother I've started watching recently, and it is a lot about like drama and fights and all this. I mean, the Sandra blowing up on Fair Play, and then Rupert blows up on Fair Play. Like those are things that Survivor has less of that in general than some of these other shows.
Yeah, I agree completely, Shane. Like even the fighting in this season just feels like more funny than like actually like you're worried for people. Like even though Rupert's about to snap Johnny Fairplay's neck, like it's still kind of funny to watch Rupert be like, "Who the hell voted for me?"
Oh, and if you're a fan of Big Brother, I mean, there's a little Big Brother in here, because in Big Brother, I know they like dress up in costumes sometimes, and then you show up here and you see someone dressed up as a Boy Scout. You're like, oh, that reminds me of Big Brother, like with the costumes. So that can help get you into it.
Yeah. Speaking of MTV, Johnny Bananas from The Challenge. No matter what the season theme is, whatever it is, he knows how to make it entertaining, knows how to make it funny. Just like John Bananas, I think Johnny Fairplay, they both know how to work a theme and make it entertaining for the viewers.
Yeah. I also just like immediately that for the longest time until Savage came back in Cambodia, it was always like the Pearl Islands, the big three was Rupert, Fairplay, and Sandra. And you immediately in the village, you get like the three Drakes, like you get the three of them interacting together, and it's really, really fun to set up all three. And then you do set up Savage later in the episode when he's like the leader of the Morgan tribe that's like losing all the time, and they're like a mess because they're stripping down naked because Austin's pants are falling down, and then like it's like, and then Savage still manages to bring them back so later in the season, so it's just so well done. So I'd love for them to return to this theme again. All right, then the next season in chronological order, for newbies is going to be Cook Island season 13, the season that divided tribes by race, which was very controversial. I still don't know how they managed to do that without getting the show canceled. But yeah, this is a great season. I think the half the cast that really shines are the people that, you know, a lot of them are going to return. You have some other great, you know, one-time characters. You know, we've obviously talked to Billy Garcia. You know, you have Cowboy, you have Nate, and then you have obviously Jonathan Penner, Ozzy, Ewell, Parvati, Candace. Like, they all are, you know, people that will return to our screens. And it's just it's a very fun season despite the very controversial start.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I did not have it on my list, but it was on my honorable mentions because it does have a lot of things that a new viewer would be interested in, like the strategy, the, you know, lots of different people from different backgrounds. I mean, you have Ozzy's immunity run, the I-24 is an interesting storyline as well.
Yeah, I did not have it on my list either, but I do like this season. I do think there are some of the cast that are kind of just like, who are they? Because I feel like sometimes early Survivor, like even when we say now, like maybe there are still like purple edits, but I do feel like early Survivor still had that as well. Like, you don't really know who like Rebecca is on the season, or even Becky and Sundra for being part of the I-24. You're really not focused on them at all in the season. It's all Ozzy and Ewell out of those four. So yeah, I do find that interesting. But again, like the half of the cast that is really good, they do get a focus regardless if they go early or they go super deep. So
yeah, so this is on my list. We can like delete it later, but we all agree on. The reason it's on my list is because I think the cast is phenomenal. Like, I agree. Theme, maybe not what we want to do in 2026.
no.
But what I really love about this season is Penner as a narrator. He really sets up how to start narrating a season. I think he sets the example for so many seasons we see later, and I really appreciate that about him on the season.
Yeah, Penner is fantastic. I mean, like, he has so many fun quotes. You have him fighting with Jeff Probst for like really being one of the first people to really go against Jeff.
Yeah.
And so like he's so good, and like for him to narrate like him flipping again when he goes with Ewell at the final 9, and like it's just so wonderfully done. So, and for him to be like the villain of the season when he's not really that villainous, he's just playing a game. Like I remember at the reunion too, like Jeff asks him about it. He's like, there's no villain in the board game of Monopoly. It's a game.
Right.
Play a win. My favorite quote ever is from Jeff. Probably my top 10, maybe not my favorite ever, is Penner annoyed by me when he's dictating the season.
Oh, please, Jeff.
I love it.
Also, Jeff is wearing like banana colored shirts in this season and like cowboy hats, and we're just like, what are you wearing, Jeff?
Yeah, he started that trend for a couple seasons here.
I just don't know what he was trying at this point. I mean, what it's 13 seasons in, and all of a sudden he's just like, you know, I'll change from what people are going to know me as and what they've known me as to something different. So it's
Which, by the way, none of us wear blue shirts today. We talked about this. We did not
yes, we forgot.
Later time.
All right. Our next on our master list for newbies is another season I think is a good one to start people on, is Survivor China season 15. And this is a season where I just remember that start of like at the Chinese temple, and then you get like immediately Jeff is like telling you what all 16 people do for a living and or something like about their character. And so like I think that was really fascinating to like be like, okay, we at least know something about all 16 of you, even if some of you aren't going to get like as big of an edit in the season or as much time. And so I thought that was really fascinating. And then like how that you split the tribes is even interesting, because it's very clear one tribe has a physical advantage over the other one, but it's still fascinating at the same time.
Yeah, I think one of the main reasons for me this is like a must for new viewers is location and like the cultural aspect of it, because that was something that was a staple of Survivor, and it's like really on show here. Another reason is Survivor's premise in season 1 was let's bring together 16 people from different walks of life, and that's really on show here. I mean, you have a lunch lady, a gravedigger, a professional wrestler. Like you can't get more different. And then also the strategy. Like there was some really emergent gameplay here, but it was a simple game. Like there weren't really any crazy twists. I mean, there was like the pseudo swap, a couple idols, but
kidnapping, yeah,
nothing crazy. So it's still like an old school game with some emerging twists and strategy. So a really nice balance there.
Yeah, I agree completely. Lindsey, what were you gonna say?
No, fully agree. But I think China did really well. It's one of the first seasons to not have an ocean, and instead we really focus on the characters and on the location. And I think they bring so much to this season that we all get to enjoy while watching it. We get our first person to find 2 idols. We get master gameplay from the beginning. We have really fantastic, in my opinion, probably the best winning game of the final 3 ever. It's 1000% the first one I recommend to new people.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting. Like again, you get like a villain in like Genre Bear being like the villain that's so disliked by everybody on the cast, and then like as a viewer, you obviously don't want to like him either. Because of, he's not exactly being very heroic or anything in the season. But like it's still fun to have someone to kind of like paint as the character that of a villain that you want to hate, but they're still like so entertaining that you're like, I can't wait for this guy to have this downfall, and it's going to be fun while it lasts to watch the downfall happen.
To be fair, if Courtney Yates described anybody else in the cast as a villain, I'd probably agree with her. She's so funny.
Yeah.
How she describes things.
Yeah. I mean, one of the funniest lines in the season is Courtney voting for Genre Bear and saying, when you snore at night, it sounds like someone's choking a walrus. So Courtney surprisingly also doesn't get that much of an edit. Obviously, Heroes versus Villains, she gets like nothing, and like but this season she doesn't get as much as she deserves. Like when she gets these lines or these moments, they're so good. But for being the runner-up and for being a huge character, she really doesn't get like too many confessionals, which is crazy.
Right. Yeah, it is weird. Especially because like she easily could have won that and probably was on track to win that. And another reason I think this is a really good season for new viewers is because this is like maybe one of the first times where like the quote unquote villainous backstabbing gameplay won, because we didn't see that, and now like that's you have to do that now to win the game, where Todd was really like the first one to do it.
Yeah. I'm a huge Todd fan as a strategist. Like, I feel like that's like gameplay I would love to implement into something. And obviously, like that final tribal speech is one of the greatest final tribal council performances in Survivor history to this day. So I'd probably say like him and Chris Doherty, and you could probably throw in a couple other ones from history in there as like the greatest final tribals.
Yeah.
100%. And for the LGBTQ plus community, Todd is a member of that. He's amazing. He's fantastic. His journey through life is amazing. So definitely recommend like looking him up if people would like to.
Yeah, 100%. Todd made Mini Jake behind me, so huge plus for Todd there. So definitely go check out what Todd does now. All right. Next on the master list for newbies, Micronesia. How could we not have this? I mean, yes, it is half fans, half favorites, but I think Shane said it before we recorded of like Micronesia sets up legacies for a lot of these players, even though it is all their second times. Like
I think you can easily go in not knowing them,
right?
Because this is where they build those legacies, and I mean, I did that. So I watched from day one Borneo, but stopped halfway through Africa, picked it up halfway through China again. So my first full season back was Micronesia. So I really didn't know them other than like James and Amanda. And I loved it. Like I just thought from like a new player, you don't need to know like who Suri, who Ozzy is. Like you pick it up and like they build their legacies, and it's the gameplay, the character moments. That's what brings you in and keeps you there.
100%. Yeah. I like there's so many fun character moments, and like you do get some fans who are like there to play the game and are great characters. You know, obviously Eric Reichenbach, Tracy, like we've talked to them both and they're both great. You probably have a couple other ones. Kathy is interesting.
He's fun.
Yeah, and then you get some like really funny downfalls, like Joel, I think, is one of the funniest downfalls. You obviously have Jason with the effing stick. So like you have some really good stuff even from the fans. Natalie Bolton, obviously, and Alexis are part of the Black Widow Brigade. So yeah, I as much as like people are like, well, they dislike the theme of fans versus favorites because the fans just get steamrolled. The fans, if they didn't make like some of the many mistakes they made, I think a fan could have absolutely won the season. But still a fun ride.
But yeah, and I also think it's a good season to show new player or new viewers because it's fans of the show getting the chance to play with their favorite players. And I mean, define fan. I mean, in this case, fan is a little more accurate. The next one, no, and favorite players maybe not. But here, yes.
Yeah, 100%. And whenever you watch Survivor or hear about it, you hear about the All Women's Alliance on multiple seasons. And honestly, I'm a fan. Let's go, ladies. But this is why this is here. They tell you how, and it's very fun to watch as it plays out.
Yeah. If you smell a rat, give it cheese is one of the greatest episodes in Survivor history. So if you were going to pick one episode, clearly CBS does at least know that the one episode they're showing from the season is the one that everybody is going to remember. So it's a masterclass in how to manipulate someone.
Also with the editing and how they did it, CBS did a great job on that episode. In 2026 still stands up. Like, watch it. Definitely.
Yep. All right. And then next on the board, we have the birth of the Dragon Slayer. We have Tocantins season 18, and this is an all newbie season, 16 people, similar to Survivor China. And this is the last season to have 16 people. And I honestly like miss it. I think this is a great season of like, it's still like old school enough in that way of like, it is only 16 people. It is a final two. It does have idols and stuff though as well. So it is mixed with like kind of the modern era at the time, but with the old school feel. And so I find Tocantins like a lot of fun, and I'm sure you guys will bring up obviously the big characters here in a moment.
But yeah, I think you said it best. I mean, that's one of the main reasons I would show it to a new viewer is because it feels very authentic to old school Survivor, but it has the modern flair of the strategy in there. And then the other main reason is the characters, and almost want to just say coach. Like that is the reason. Tyson's amazing in it too. Like Fishback, Taj, JT, like there's great characters, but coach is like the main talking point. I mean, the martyr approach episode is one of the greatest episodes in the history of Survivor. And that you could almost just watch that episode on its own to really hook someone in. They don't need to know what's going on there. Because coach, like you can either love to love him, love to hate him, hate to love him, all of the above, but you're still talking about him.
Exactly. Like, again, this is why coach is going to be back for 50, is because everybody talks about him. Like everybody remembers this guy who calls himself the Dragon Slayer and is out there doing his coach chi and like out there like standing on like a wall with like little steps and like screaming out in pain and falling into a fetal
conducting an orchestra. I mean, also one of my favorite quotes, not even just in Survivor, but ever, is "Who is this jackass?"
Yes. Yeah, that one's great. Like coach telling Tyson he's his assistant coach now.
Like, oh my gosh. Can we talk about a family visit where everyone has family and he has his assistant coach instead? I love it so much.
Yeah, and they're giving each other like they're cracking each other's backs and like, oh my god, there's so much like gold in Tocantins. You have coach getting so upset that like Sierra's calling him out. She's like, if you want to vote me out, just vote me out. Just say bye, or and then coach is like, okay, bye.
And we have Tyson rustling or ruffling feathers, depending on how you want to phrase it, before this 27th season even starts here. Just making people upset with Sierra. It's such a good season. I'm reading Stephen Fishbach's book. If anybody wants to read Escape, it's great.
Yeah.
But the main thing is Coach. I'm so excited. It's my favorite episode of Survivor ever, is the martyr approach.
Yeah, it's a great one. Yeah, and again, Stephen Fishbach, another great interview that we've had on the channel. So absolutely go check that one out as well. And Stephen just proves like he is like a Survivor know-it-all, Survivor nerd. Like he's
a
great.
Know-it-all. His book is great, by the way.
Yeah, I definitely will check it out. All right, and then we have Heroes versus Villains, of course. And this one, you know, I think we debated of whether we should cut this. I do think it's way better if you obviously know like the legacies of these players going into it. I do think that you're able to show new people this season regardless. In some ways they're just not going to catch everything that they probably should. So
yeah, I mean, you can't disagree. This is well, some people might, but I'm going to say they're wrong. This is the greatest season in Survivor history. I don't think it's going to get topped. Australian Survivor has come close to topping it, but they haven't yet. But I do disagree with showing it to a new viewer, because I think, unlike Micronesia, this season depends on the legacies. Like, these people are coming in as legends, and if you don't understand that, you're going to miss a lot. You'll still enjoy it, yes, but like there's so much to miss. But I understand why it's on here, and like it's still, regardless, an amazing season.
Yeah, 100%. It is like it's one of the first seasons I watched, because I think I'd watched the first couple seasons because I'd started like watching from the beginning after I'd started at Redemption Island, and then I do remember because I watched like Borneo and Australia online, and then I got All Stars and Heroes versus Villains on DVD, which again, not recommended, but I did then watch those and then continued back from the beginning of where I left off. So Heroes versus Villains always holds a special place in my heart. And just like, it's so legendary that premiere is one of the greatest episodes. Clearly they're showing it again because everybody knows how good that premiere is. And just like the whole season never really feels slow. I know people are going to disagree with that. I don't think that the post merge of like people are saying, no, it's just the heroes getting picked off. I think it's still a really entertaining season, and you don't necessarily know if like the heroes are somehow gonna, you know, do a heroic thing and somehow come from behind and win, even though it seems like the villains have a pretty tight grasp on everything. But it's still an entertaining ride, and it's because you love these characters already.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I just noticed on a little spoiler on our list for the new players, we don't have a Boston Rob season other than this. And like Boston Rob, whatever you want to say about him, he's critical to like Survivor. Yes. And most people who've never seen Survivor may have heard of Boston Rob from other shows or whatever. So if you are going to show them a season, which you probably kind of have to at that point, I mean, this probably is the one to feature him, because All Stars, he's much bigger there, but like,
very really negative season.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense, because Boston Rob is kind of the heart of the show in some aspects, according to Jeff, by the way. Not everybody else, not the viewers. But he's such a good character. He's someone that a casual viewer could just like, oh, I've heard that name before, and kind of like look him up, that sort of thing. And for any new viewers in this season, I agree with Shane. I'd put it off until you watch others just for the legacy. But in general, like, especially the post-merge, it's kind of like a roller coaster. Like, we're just watching this thing going with the villains the whole time. It's very fun. It's very chaotic. We don't quite know where we're going. We see the end goal. We know where the roller coaster ends. When are we going to get there? We have fun in the meantime.
Yeah, and I think, like, the thing that does make the post, like, you obviously have the merge episode, which is a great episode, and then, you do kind of get the heroes getting picked off, but you also, like, you have that like double tribal episode. Like you have Rupert putting a rock in his pocket to get Candace voted out, and then like she is a hero at the beginning, but like it's still an interesting thing. And then obviously you have the Danielle blindside in there with Russell going ballistic. So like I think like it still breaks up like maybe a little bit of monotony, and it is still something that is a super entertaining watch there. And like as you guys brought up, Boston Rob is seen as the heart of the show. They make him out to be a hero in this season, even though he's a villain. Like he's the one who's providing for his tribe, winning challenges for them. And of course you have Jeff that's gonna berate Courtney for Boston Rob not being in the game.
Can we talk about the funniest moment of Boston Rob and Sandra betting on Coach falling off the tree?
Yes.
I laugh at that every single time.
One of my favorite premiere moments, and I think it's underrated because I don't think it gets talked about enough, is Boston Rob, like the editing even of like Boston Rob being like, oh, I know someone who has the biggest ego. They think they're the biggest and the best, and they just have to show everybody. And then you cut to Coach with like the music, and then it's so beautifully edited and comedic, and I just love it. So all right, so that passes us through the golden era. Now we're in the 20s, which 50 may not have anybody for that, and we will address that soon. But let's go into Survivor Philippines. And of course, this is the season that it does have returnees, but you know, you basically just have to know that they were medevac in their previous season, and they're back for another shot. Second shot for two of them, third shot for Penner, of course. But they are arguably up to that point, they are the three most important medevac returnees, or people that got medevaced in Survivor history. So they make sense at the time. And then you get a really good cast of newbies. You obviously get Malcolm and Denise, huge fan favorites, and they are going to be like the stars of this season. You get Lisa Whelchel and Jeff Kent, two celebrities that are probably the most recognized celebrities that have ever been on the show. Like they're up there 100%. And then you're going to get, you know, Zane being in insane first boot. You get Abby Maria. Like you get some really fun characters throughout the season. So what are your guys' thoughts on Philippines?
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think it's definitely one of the best seasons in the 20s. And for that reason, it's really good to show new viewers because like the character is a strategy, but also like it's a good, you know, middle ground from where Survivor was to where Survivor's going, and like helps bridge that gap.
Yeah. 100%.
I agree. I don't know if it counts as like a new season because we have new players, we have 3 returnees, but if it counts, it's my favorite season of like new players ever. The location is gorgeous, the cast is amazing, the strategic play, like they are top notch. Like I really no complaints. Honestly, it's 100% what I would tell other people to watch. I think it's my favorite.
Yeah, I think it's the first season as well where someone that was on a train wreck tribe where they end up being successful in the game. Because obviously, you know, Stephenie didn't make it to the end of Palau after being on Ulan. I guess technically Yowman and Earl might have been the first in Fiji because their tribe was sucking, but that was also because of what production decided to do with the theme of the season. So this is really just like a tribe, you know, being divided just, you know, normally and still sucking. And then the 2 people left over still end up like dominating the rest of the season.
Yes. And we get Penner again, the best narrator in Survivor history.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Like this is, you know, I know like obviously there's a debate that Penner could have been back for 50, you know, he was in contention obviously, but I think this is a good end to Penner's character arc since we didn't get him on 50. Like you even have him like trying to do his like final curtain call whistling as he goes off into the darkness. Like I think it's a good
fun.
It's a good end to his character arc. So
oh, for sure, yeah.
I love him. As much as I want to see him again, this is a bookmark end, which I think you'd appreciate as an author.
Yeah, 100%. All right, and then we do have the original Blood versus Water. So this includes Redemption Island, which you could argue is definitely like the best way they've used it. And so you're also going to get like family members playing against each other. and like that adds so many dimensions and layers to the game, and you get some really fantastic players, some really fantastic characters out of that. So like I feel like they really focused in on casting players because their loved ones were really good, which is really fun.
Yeah, I didn't have this on my list, but this is my third favorite season of all time, so I definitely love it. But now, like, the reason I was going to say no is mainly the returning players. But now that I think about it, you don't really need to know much about them. The only thing you need to know is that it's not shocking whatsoever what Rupert did at the beginning. That's all you need to know about them. And like this one, it's good because if you're a fan of Big Brother, you have Hayden, who I didn't even know what Big Brother was at that time. So it didn't mean anything to me. But you have him, so a known character. You also have some crazy gameplay, like people voting out their family members, going to rocks,
Yeah. You have people yelling at each other at Redemption Island because they see their loved ones have been voted out. Like that's something that had never been explored in Survivor up to this point. I mean, how often, I mean, obviously since this, we haven't had people like saying, fuck you, Brad Culpepper.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Shane, I also did not know what Big Brother was until this season. So thank you, Hayden Moss, for introducing me to that world. But yes, I like to think of myself as a calm, cool, collected player or person. But my gosh, when I turn Tyson, when I turn other things, you vote off my husband, you vote off my sibling, I think I would get mad, honestly.
Yeah. It gets really intense. So I like both seasons that have used blood versus water. I like that they have like the subtle differences between them to differentiate them, and like this being the one that has Redemption Island and the returning players with their loved ones makes it really interesting. So, all right, and then of course I think this one had to be on the list, which is Cagayan, Brains, Brawn, and Beauty. This one is something that I've definitely shown to people before. It jumps you right into 18 new players split across like 3 aspects of Survivor that are really important in some ways. So like you have the brawn, you have the physical game, you have brains, you have the strategic game. And I guess, I mean, beauty, you use your looks and you can socially get in with people. So I take it as like social game in a way. So kind of putting the 3 aspects together in that way, which is really fun and interesting and leads to really fun characters, really chaotic gameplay from the jump. So yeah, I love this season.
Yeah, this is almost universally the season that I would tell a new viewer to start with. It kind of depends on their interests, but I mean, this fits most interests. I mean, it has strategy, it has twists, it has a theme, it has ridiculous characters in the most amazing way. It just has everything, like funny moments, serious moments, everything.
Yeah, 100%. Lindsey?
The only thing I would add, because you guys summed up very perfectly, because it's one of the best, if not the best Survivor season ever, is watch the other ones on our top 10 list first, because you can experience and enjoy this one more. I would say this one for last, because it might be the best.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I'm a huge Tony fan. Chaos Cass, Spencer, or Ryman as he goes by now. Like I think he's one of the best underdog stories in Survivor history. Tasha, Wu, Sarah Lucina, like there's some great players, great characters on this season.
There's no failure. It's all great.
Yeah, maybe only one dot on the cast, but it's kind of funny how this person goes out because they quit over petty fights. So yeah, like it's funny. All right, and then skipping ahead a few seasons, let's go to Millennials versus Gen X, season 33, the age divided season, which is funny because Vanquish is doing this age divided season right now, which you can go check out as well. And yeah, Millennials versus Gen X is just a fantastic way in like the modern era to divide things, and you're going to get one of my favorite winners being Adam Klein. You're going to get some other fantastic characters. You get Jay, you get David Wright, you get Brett LaBelle, Michaela, Zeke. Like you get some really fantastic characters and players as well, and a lot more like evolution of strategy.
Yeah, I would say this one almost, I don't have words for why it's like on this list, but it has to be on this list. It's hard to like explain, but I guess the one thing other than what you said, the characters for sure. The other thing is like this is a little more of like a game body season. Like it's very game focused. And if you're trying to like catch up on what Survivor is now, this is a huge jump in that direction. And like for people that are interested in like fast gameplay and less of like the other stuff, this is a season for you.
Agreed.
Yes, I agree. That's very well said, Shane. Not all seasons Survivor have a great pre-merge or a great post-merge, but they can still be a good season. What I like about this is the pre-merge is really, really good. The post-merge is really, really good. And I don't know if you can always find that on every season, which is why I recommend it to a newbie to watch.
Yeah, I agree completely. Like that, I think like if you're watching like Cagayan and you wonder where to go next, I think you would jump to Millennials versus Gen X as like an easy evolution from Cagayan. So yeah. All right, and then we have David versus Goliath. Of course, we just recently talked about this for 1 through 50, and this is a season that has one of the best casts in Survivor history, not just like character wise, but also like diversity wise. Like you're getting a lot of diverse people, and that's what makes Survivor really interesting. And like, you know, underdogs versus people that are used to being on top in their life. And so that dynamic that causes, and like obviously like the storyline of like the Davids do end up doing what like David did to Goliath in the Bible, like so this is such a fun season. I mean, we've talked enough, you know, Christian, Angelina, Mike White, you know, John Hennigan, Davey, Natalie Cole. Like there's so many fun characters and players in this season as well.
Oh yeah, I most definitely. I don't know that I have anything else to add. I think you said it quite well.
Yeah,
exactly. I think I retract my previous statement for the best cast ever. I think it might be this season.
Yeah, and you know, you have someone asking for someone else's jacket and getting, you know, turned down. Like it's so funny that happened. It's one of the most iconic moments ever. All right, then we have 3 seasons from the new era on the list. So we have Survivor 42. You know, we have talked to Mike Turner. You know, there's Jonathan, who's going to be back for 50. You have some other fantastic characters. Marianne being the winner, being one of the wildest like characters as a winner is fantastic. And Omer, and there's some other fantastic characters you could point out as well. I think the season where the cast absolutely carries it, and kind of production's decisions do hurt it, but because the cast saves it, like it's still a pretty solid season.
Yeah, I think for me, it's the characters here. It's just amazing characters in the new era. There are some of those like early new era kinks that they're still working out twist wise, that if you just deal with it, it's still great. Because like for me, when this season first aired, I had it in my top 10 overall. I do not anymore, but it's not far away from that necessarily. But yeah, I just think it's a really good representation of where Survivor is now, and it's not so boring because the characters are great, where some of the newer new era seasons can be a little stale at times.
Yeah, I had this in my top 15 originally when I first saw it. Like it stood out to me as well in a big way. So
yeah, I think what 42 does really well, or what Marianne as a winner does really well, is I have a lot of like friends that are casual Survivor viewers, so they watch it because they know I watch it, but they are not super fans of the show. They all love Marianne. They remember her name. They engage with her. They wanted her to win. And I don't know the last time we've really felt that in a long time, especially in the new era. They were all cheering for Marianne, not even knowing Survivor.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think this was a winner where like you immediately get invested in her, like hoping she does well, and then she comes out and wins. Like that's crazy. Like that, like often the biggest character does not end up winning. Like I would say Tony is like the other biggest one, like that was a character and he still ended up playing a crazy game and winning it twice, obviously. So like it's still insane, and it's always insane when the massive character ends up winning. So All right, and then we had 45. So 45, obviously D wins it in one of the most dominant performances of the season. I do think this season does start out like really rough because you are going to get someone quit immediately. You are going to unfortunately get someone who can't climb up a ladder. We love you, Brandon, but you know, and then you are going to get another person quitting. Sean ends up doing the same as Hannah and throwing in the towel. But like after those first 4 episodes, you're and you have Sabaya, who's like that episode is really good in the middle of like the rough start. But then you get past that and you get like a really good season from there. You're going to get some really crazy moves that D and what she is able to pull off to get herself through. And also Bruce. I mean, Bruce being the one returnee on this season after he was out immediately because of the injury. And Bruce is such a fun character that we've gotten to talk to as well. So 45 is a really good season, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's another good one to show new viewers because a lot of these players are very relatable. Like even Brandon Donlan, like look at us, like any of us could go out there and not be able to do that and react very similarly. So like, and you can, at least with Brandon Donlan as well, like you can feel it out there and see it on him where like he's dreamt of this for so long and like to get something you want and all of the emotion behind that. So I think it's very relatable, which makes it something good for a new viewer to see.
Agreed.
Shane, adding on to what you said, I think what Survivor 45 does really well is the emotion behind each player. You can really feel, like you said with Brandon, falling off the ladder, not getting on the ship. And you feel with Kelly, what the hell, guys? You can see so many different flips with Emily and her having a whole season progressing and realizing what she's doing wrong. You can see like a very old school Survivor with the red, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the tribe, the red 4 all sticking together.
Reba. Yeah.
And that's old school Survivor. So it's a little bit of everything at once.
Yeah, the Caleb shot in the dark play as well, where that's just successful, and like that was pretty crazy at the time for sure. Despite that Caleb's going to go out the very next episode, but anyway, it's still,
moment.
Yeah, it's still a very wild moment, and as you said, the Kelly blindside was so unexpected at the time because I remember like Kelly is going to go super far, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere she gets completely blindsided. So, really, really great moment. All right, and the last season for newbies to watch is Survivor 47. Again, another season we've talked to a player. We talked to Sue. Sue is great. Other fantastic characters. You get the arc of Andy, who starts off as this immediate outcast that goes to like this like really interesting character and player in the game, where he actually does like help organize Operation Italy, one of the greatest moves in the history, at least to the new era, probably in the history of the show. And Genevieve is obviously coming back. Sam Phelan is a really fun character. Rachel Lamont, obviously a really good winner of the show. Rome being a really fun villain that gets a really fun downfall halfway through. So like you have some really good stuff in 47, and I feel like this is where the new era really mastered what it's going for, so that it could end up with like a season that I would say is probably in the top half of Survivor.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. One of the things for me when I watch this season is it's very game body. Like all the confessionals are about the players' games and less about them as like people and characters. So depending on who you are, you may or may not like that or resonate with it. But I think for people looking for like fast-paced television, like this is it.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I agree. It's very game body. There's a little like fun elements to the season that could help. Like episode 2, I think, when Rachel is stealing the rice. Like I put that in my pockets, like no question here if I can get away with that one. And there's a lot of fun elements like Sam and Rachel arguing or different things that I think help make it a more human season as opposed to watching game bots. But in general, I agree. Compared to everything else on our list, this is the most game bot season.
I agree. I think you could definitely put it as more game body than some of the other ones we've listed. Absolutely. So for this one, I guess out of seasons we've cut, we have 14 here.
Oh,
we want
no.
to cut 4 that newbies maybe shouldn't watch actually and just stick to the 10. I think the argument is definitely there for heroes versus villains. Obviously, people should watch everything that comes before. I can agree with that. So I think out of all of these, I do think heroes versus villains is something that should be saved. So to get the
now we have to cut 3 more. Oh
yeah, I mean, I would cut 42 because I think we don't need 3 new era seasons, and the arguments are there for 45 and 47 over 42.
I agree.
Yeah. I completely agree with that as well, unfortunately, but I do like 42. So that leaves 2 more that we have to cut.
I'm leaning blood versus water, and I
was about to say blood versus water.
I do hate that.
Yeah. I do think it's a little tougher for new players, or new viewers, I mean.
Yeah.
It's not like Micronesia where you can kind of like see various stories. Blood versus water, you don't quite have the history, and it goes from there. So I agree. I would cut blood versus water, even though it hurts my heart.
Yeah.
And then the only other place I would go, because we need to cut 1 more, is I'd either go Cook Islands, only because we have a lot in the teens already, or one of 33 and 37, because I think 33 and 37 are very similar in a lot of ways, which means I would cut 33 most likely.
I would cut 33 of Cook Islands. I don't really want to cut 30. I don't want to cut 37. What do you guys think?
I don't either. I would say Cook Islands. I was going to bring up 45 just because of the rough start, but like I also understand having it there. Like I just watched Dee's dominant performance. So like I understand that. So I'd be comfortable, I think, with Cook Islands. Maybe.
Yeah. It's actually interesting it's coming down to these 2 because they both have like a group of 4 going all the way.
I see 4. Let's go, baby.
I mean, that is an iconic moment, so I can see the argument for keeping it. I guess it's just like, I don't know, for me, maybe like I love Yule, but I think Adam is definitely just like someone I can relate to, obviously, and like I guess it makes Millennials versus Gen X more important to me personally, but obviously, you know, for other people, I'm sure Cook Islands and the I-24 storyline means much more to them.
Yeah, so I think Yule's a better winner, but Adam is so much more relatable. He's so much like, I want to be your friend. I would love to like talk with you. I understand why you wanted to win.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in terms of like ranking seasons, I think 13 is better than 45, but maybe we cut 13 because my logic here is we're trying to get people into Survivor with this list, and the new era is where we're at and where we're going to continue apparently.
45 then.
So keeping 2 in the new era seems right, even though I would prefer to only have 1 new era, but like since that's where we are and where we're going, it makes sense to have 2 to really.
I agree. I think we have to unfortunately cut Yule and Cook Islands.
All right.
So that would leave us with our 10, which I think is a pretty solid list. Pearl Island season 7, China 15, Micronesia season 16, Tocantins season 18, Philippines 25, Cagayan 28, Millennials versus Gen X 33. We have season 37, David versus Goliath, and then seasons 45 and 47.
We got like at least two from most of the eras of the show.
Yeah. Like it's a good representation of like all the different aspects that make Survivor what it is, and enough of like the evolution of Survivor in here too. If you just watch this list, I think you'd be hooked.
Yeah, as sad as I am to cut seasons or people, when you read the list out loud, like, yes, that's definitely what I would recommend.
Yeah, so off of the list here, we also have like the best for 50, and I think there's seasons here that we haven't discussed that might be best for 50, and I know seasons that we have discussed might have reasons to also be best to watch for 50. So I guess like let's just go through like maybe like 3 seasons that we think would be best for season 50 off of what we have.
Okay. Off of the ones that are on that same list, I mean Micronesia, because like that's Suri, and I mean there's a Oz in there too, And like that's so important for understanding their dynamic that may or may not come into play in 50. Like based on pregame interviews, they both want to work with each other. So Micronesia sets that up well. So I think that's like a key one to prepare for 50.
Yeah. I think Micronesia is a good one. I would say heroes versus villains, just because you are getting that premiere to kick everything off, and just like you have 4 players from there that are going to be on 50, and I think they're going to be very important to what happens in 50 personally. Because
I agree.
I see all 4 of them doing well.
1000%, Jake. You're totally correct. Heroes versus villains and David versus Goliath, right? 2 at the top of my list.
Yeah.
I think those are all really good ones. All right, I think we should address seasons that we didn't have on the newbies list and that we think would be best for 50 that we haven't discussed yet. And so kicking this off, we had Borneo on the list, and I mean, it's the one that started it all. It's hard for me to think about the fact that CBS just decided not to show the first episode of the first season. I think they just assume that people are going to be bored by the first episode, but I honestly just find Borneo as a whole fascinating because it is the first one and people are starting to figure out the game, like are trying to figure it out, and some people don't know how it works yet. Besides Hatch, I think Sue starts to figure it out. Kelly Wigglesworth kind of is figuring it out. Rudy is even figuring it out, and kind of like the basis of like he's the older guy and he is figuring out this game as well as like the younger people to fit into an alliance and all that. And then you have like some really fun characters that aren't all about the alliance thing. You get Greg Buis, you get Jenna Lewis, who is going to come back, who I do think got the game. She just wasn't able to like get it together in the first season. Jervis, obviously, like I think you have just a fantastic cast. You have Dr. Sean with his alphabet strategy. Like there's so much fun to be had in Borneo, and it's just shocking that they didn't represent that for like their top 10 episodes.
No, I definitely see the arguments for that. If we're looking at like seasons to prepare for 50, this one it's for Jenna. But I would argue All Stars is the better one for Jenna because that's where she becomes a game player. She has a big part. And that's probably the kind of gameplay she's going to show in 50 because she was a bit ahead of her time in targeting the winners. Like that was something that, looking at people's threat levels going in is a big thing now. And we realize in the All-Star seasons, you kind of have the reverse meta where it's like the people that didn't do good always do well in all-star seasons. And she kind of started that.
I'm going to 100% agree with Shane here. Borneo was not on my list, but All-Stars was to watch Jenna Lewis start. Like, let's go, girl, let's cook. Target the winners. It's very fun. We also see Colby in such a medium thing in his Survivor life. It's not Australia where he's like the guy. He's like your number one. It's not like Heroes versus Villains where Colby is maybe not succeeding. He's kind of in the medium here. So for both of them, I think that'd be a great season to watch.
Yeah, Colby's journey is interesting because like All Stars, I think, doesn't really get talked about in his journey. It's like he's so good in Australia, he's so bad in Heroes versus Villains, and then All Stars, he does the worst performance of his Survivor career so far. He gets like 12th because of threat level and like. I think also just like he kind of tries to come out there and target Richard Hatch. And then, he's seen as like the biggest player because he helps get rid of Hatch. So like, I don't know. It's an interesting journey for Colby, but like Jenna Lewis, absolutely. Like, and if you've seen like some of the pregame interviews, her pregame interview like shows like she was thinking about the game from season 1. Like she was ready. She was ready to cut throats from the very beginning. Like, she even talks about like season 1. She immediately was like made best friends with Ramona. That Ramona thought she was like in with her, and then she just cut Ramona's throat immediately. Yeah. So it's like she talking about that. I was like, wow, Jenna really does have a head for the game.
Yes. Also, can we talk about in All Stars? Jenna she was so close to winning. If she didn't step up the final challenge with Amber and Rob, she was so close. Like if she made it to the end, I think she might have won over the jury.
She definitely could have. I think like the thing is like I think the edit also tried to show some of like because she was playing so hard of like I mean that season was all about showing like negativity. So like but like and also just like they were also trying to show the love story of Rob and Amber that is going to make it to the end. And so they kind of didn't really highlight enough of Jenna's positive parts of her game because she did help them get there and she was a huge part of that, but they're the two who made it together. So
Jenna and Rupert did amazing. Can we like enter in the highlight of the very first Tribal Council where the whole Red Tribe is making fun of people going?
The mock
and
tribal.
Rob Cesternino is going to be Jeff Pros and like we all take parts. Can we not? I love that.
Yeah, Shane and I brought that up in our All Stars recap for 1 through 50. It's such an underrated, funny, deleted scene, and I wish it actually made the episode because it's so good.
It's so good.
But yeah, and then I guess the next one, Australian Outback, obviously same vein as Borneo. Obviously, we just discussed Colby. This is obviously the height of his popularity on the show, and where he is the original. Well, I guess Kelly Wigglesworth is the original challenge beast, but Colby comes along, starts like breaks Kelly Wigglesworth's record, but sets the tone, the record for every future season of you have to hit 5 to at least tie Colby's record. And then, you know, Colby and Jerry obviously is a bond that it's just sad to not see Jerry with Colby because their games, their stories have been so intertwined for 3 seasons.
Yeah, he even says that on he being Colby says that on his preseason 50 interviews. It's not the same without Jerry, which Jerry's my girl, so I'm with her.
Yeah. Absolutely. Shane, anything to say on Australia?
No, I just completely agree with that because I think Colby is one of the biggest talking points about 50. Like people are surprised to see him, and like this season is what made Colby so popular.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to ask both of you about this before we continue on. I live in Texas. My husband is a huge Texas person. He's born and raised here in Dallas. He has the same swim shorts that Colby has, Texas flag, all the things. He loves Colby. And when I say how much he loves Colby, one of his cousins is named Colby. Like after Colby Donaldson, born in the early 2000s. It was a trend at the thing.
He says it on Heroes versus Villains that people were naming their kids Colby, like or Jeff says that.
My husband's cousin is one of those kids.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. I'm sure Colby still gets that to this day too.
Yeah, I want him to succeed. Like I really want him to succeed. I don't know if he can though.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about 2 back-to-back seasons just to group a couple of things together. Palau and Guatemala, because we got Stephenie LaGrossa. Obviously, Stephenie was probably after Colby and Rupert, probably the next most popular player of all time. And so obviously Palau, she is the last member of Ulan, is at the camp by herself after just eliminating Bobby John from the game. And then she gets absorbed by Karor and, you know, still makes it a couple of rounds before they finally take her out. And then she comes back for Guatemala after being like America's sweetheart and then plays a very ruthless game in Guatemala to make it to the end after like basically being told like we don't want returning players around. And she like even then, and she still makes it to the end with Danny. And unfortunately, her ruthless game wasn't really respected back then. But Stephenie in her first 2 seasons was like a really good player. And like I'm again shocked that like her Palau journey wasn't highlighted in the top 10 episodes.
For sure. I think she played how she had to both seasons. She adapted and learned and played.
Agreed. Shane, any thoughts?
I think Palau is good for her because that's what like put her on the map. But if I were saying pick one Stephenie season to watch to prepare for 50, I would say Guatemala because I think that gameplay style is going to be more reflective of how she plays in 50.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Shane, what do you think against Danny Boatwright, like Guatemala style? Like, how do you see her playing, given that she went to the end with Danny?
Well, I just think she's going to play more ruthless and like strategic, where in Palau, she was more of like a physical game, like kind of loyal, just stick with my alliance, don't really necessarily like call the shots as much, but let the group call the shots, and she's part of that. Where like Guatemala, she's dictating things, she's backstabbing people. So I think that's what she's going to bring into 50.
Do you think one is a better game than the other?
I mean, I think she should have won Guatemala. And Palau, like, she did well, but she wasn't making it to the end.
No, after that storyline, and I mean, she just had very little allies that actually wanted to take her. I mean, the only chance she had is if either the women got together, if Karen didn't suck so much, or if Tom and Ian had been willing to take her through, but they weren't. So yeah. So I think that's accurate on Steph. All right, and then skipping ahead, season that we haven't brought up, to South Pacific. So this is obviously Ozzy and Coach coming back. This is also the season where I first talked to a survivor with Jim Rice. So again, huge like nostalgia for me a little bit. But yeah, I mean, South Pacific is, I think, huge because Ozzy and Coach, and this is like where we last saw both of them. Well, Ozzy was on Game Changers, but like, to me, I think it would have been a season to kind of bookend both their arcs if neither one had come back again, because obviously Ozzy is like this, you know, last stretch run, and like kind of as like this, I guess, perfect ending of just falling short again. And then Coach has like this journey of like, he's looked at as like a fool in Tocantins and Heroes versus Villains, and he comes back and like dominates the game, manipulates people, and then has the downfall at the end where he can't own what he did. So, but I'm happy to see Coach back after this, at least. I don't know about Ozzy, but I think South Pacific is like a really fascinating season on some levels with like the religious manipulation and all that. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's necessary to prepare for 50 by watching that, because that's kind of, well, one, Coach, regardless of how he could be the first boot, I think he's going to get a huge edit. Like, just how he was playing it up going into 50, where even like his interview came out where he's like, yeah, I know I broke my NDA because they clearly wanted me there and needed me there, and they're not going to do anything about it. So for that reason, like, they're going to show him a lot. And like, this was by far Coach's best game, but also the dynamic with him and Ozzy, I think, is a really interesting question going into 50.
Yeah, because they both hate each other, and Coach literally talked about his interviews how Ozzy poisoned the South Pacific jury against him, and like basically like, yeah, I think he even like went so far as to like call Ozzy like an ass in like his interviews. Like he did not have kind words to say.
Okay, like, to be fair, if Ozzy is poisoning the jury for this specific season, didn't they kind of hate him and also didn't curse out Sophie, who won? So like, it works both ways, right?
So he did what he usually does if he goes on the bottom. He pouted and sulked around his tribe after they blindsided his island girlfriend, and then
he can get over it.
Yeah, and then like he was able to be a bigger man finally and get, you know, make the big move that he did, sending himself to Redemption Island. And then I think his tribe, the rest of his tribe, besides like Cochran, like really respected Ozzy for doing that for them. And then, you know, obviously he was really nice to everybody on Redemption Island. So I think that endeared him back to his tribe.
That makes sense. I would 1000% recommend to the viewers, if you don't want to watch this whole season, which I understand it can be a little bit a lot with Coach and the whole religious stuff. And
you have to watch Brandon Hands.
I definitely recommend watching the final episode, the last couple of hours. You see Ozzy come back and lose after Redemption Island to Sophie. You see Coach at the final tribal. You see Ozzy on the jury. I think it sets up both Ozzy's and also Coach's story for season 50. You see why they both lost. Ozzy's the ultimate provider. He's the ultimate like tribe person, and he failed. And so that sets it up for him for 50. Same with Coach. He made it to the end, and he just didn't get it.
Yeah. It's a really interesting case for that season. All right, next up we have Survivor Koran. This is Aubry's first season. This sets her character up pretty nicely of like being really out of it at the very beginning, and then she comes into her own and has this really big arc where like you could see Aubry potentially winning this game, and then she falls just short at the end to Michelle, and then she kind of comes back and has sort of diminishing returns. Game Changers doesn't get a big edit, still makes it far, and then Edge of Extinction has the massive downfall that she has. But it all started with Aubry's Koran game, which I think is like obviously her best game, and I think she is like the person that you're rooting for every single time you watch the season.
100%. As Q says, to Mariah, if you're like Aubry, I'm going to vote you out. So I'll hand it over to Shane to talk about it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like Aubry, I don't know if she's going to be a big character or not, because in all of her seasons, like her first one, this one, Koran, she was a big character. Yes, she was like less in the edit in her other two, but she was still a big part of the season and talked about a lot. And for that reason, like I would say we do need to include an Aubry season on this list, because regardless, the odds are like even if she goes out early, like she will have played a role directly or indirectly in how the season went.
Agreed. Yeah, I would say if you're going to watch for Aubry, I think Koran is the one to go with. But
I agree. I put a different season on here for Aubry, but you guys are correct. I kind of hope she at least makes a merge on 50. We will see, though.
Yeah. I mean, I have that season. Let's get right into it because that's the next one we haven't talked about. Edge of Extinction. But I put it on here mainly for Rick Devens because Rick Devens is a huge part of this season and someone I'm super excited to see back again. I think it's been way too long without him because you would have thought he would have been back much sooner. And like this season is just like a train wreck, like a glorious train wreck to watch. And like I think it's going to like I think how Rick Devens plays this season is going to be important to 50 because I think he's always someone who's going to play really hard and do this crazy stuff that he does.
Yeah, so I agree with that because like Edge of Extinction is so Devens focused, and the odds are, regardless of how he does, 50 is going to be Devens focused, so it makes sense to use this as a prelude.
Yeah, agreed.
100%. So like old school era as a narrator, we look to Penner. New scare era, like ish, we look at Devens. I'm not sure who we're going to do for new era yet, but I do think that Devin fills the narrator role that we're missing without having Penner.
Yeah, I agree. I think for the 30s, like I think Devens is definitely, I mean, I know he didn't come till late 30s, but like I think
he's so funny.
Yeah, he's one of the biggest representatives of the 30s.
Yeah.
So all right. And then the new era that we haven't talked about. I loathe this season. I don't think it's very good. Based on I don't think the characters are very interesting, but we do have 3 people from this season. Charlie, who is one of the people that I do find fascinating, Tiffany, who I think has potential, and then Q, who is obviously a big character, very polarizing. It makes sense for him to be back as well. I'll say that, like, I do understand why like Q is back, and like people remember this guy for like Cancel Christmas and like, you know, his hide and seek and the Q skirt. Like everybody remembers this guy, so I understand it. And then everybody I think remembers how Charlie almost won the game but didn't, and the circumstances behind that. And then I think, you know, Tiffany at least has like her rivalry with Q throughout the season that culminates in her getting taken out. So I mean 46 has importance for all 3 players. I don't know. Like, I do think it probably should be on the list, but I'm just not someone that enjoys this season personally.
Yeah, I also don't love this season, and it seems like it's very polarizing because there are a lot of people that say it's one of their favorites of the new era.
Really?
And the reasons they say it's their favorite makes sense to me. I just can't get it though. Like,
yeah,
there's strategy, there's characters, there's all of that, but like I just don't love it. But I do agree, like in preparation for 50, yeah, like for all those reasons, and also for the fact that there's 3 people from the season returning.
Yeah, that's the main factor for me. Lindsey?
I think this needs to be on the list because we have 3 people returning. But honestly, this is a knockoff team up version of Gabon to me. Like,
Yes.
come on, like Gabon walks as could run, but Gabon should have like run the whole time.
Yeah, Gabon for me is like, at least I can be more entertained. Like I feel like this, and it's not just because it's new era, but just like the characters that you're supposed to find is like wacky and entertaining are just more annoying. Like I can't sit through more than 4 episodes of Banu. Like I just feel like that's the most ridiculous like person that they've ever cast on the show, and not in a good way.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with that.
I don't disagree either. And could you imagine being on that show and having to deal with like Q? Like, say we're playing Survivor 46, our 3 of us are there, the alphabet game where we hide all these things, determine what he wants to do to us on the game. I cannot understand that logical reasoning. Does not make any sense to me at all. And then he offered to give 20,000, like the new Sia award next season. Never did that. It's just too. It's not that I don't like him. It's not that I don't think he's entertaining. I just could never trust him or play with him.
Yeah, I don't think Q has any logic when playing these games. So again, he tried to quit the game. And
that's the episode they chose too.
Yeah, that's the episode they chose, and just like for people to say like Q is brilliant, and it's like, do you guys remember like how frustrated you probably were when he was about to quit? And then like I don't know. I just can't get past that. But again, like I understand why he's back, and maybe like we don't get something like that again from him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What do you think Charlie and Tiffany thought when they showed up on the beach and saw him?
I mean, Tiffany is probably like really frustrated to see Q again, and then I think I don't know that Charlie is super close to either one. Obviously, neither one voted for him to win either, and so maybe there's Taylor Swift reference, bad blood. But
maybe got bad blood.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, and I will say with 46, like there's Charlie I like. I like Maria. Like I may not agree with the decision made at the end, but I think Maria is a great person, a great player. So Maria's great, and then
I think we should emphasize that because she gets a lot of hate from
yeah,
this season. She's a great player.
And
I think she's a lovely woman.
And we've met her. Shane and I have talked to her. Obviously, she's played Vanquish. She's great. Like we love you, Maria. I just want to emphasize that. Please don't send hate to the players, because obviously we also weren't out there. So I think the edit. That's another reason I don't like 46 is the edit does a really bad job at portraying her decision. I feel like if we had a little more context, maybe we would get it more. So, because I just think that the context they provided doesn't make sense. But I'm willing to like believe that like Maria made a justified decision in her mind. So
I agree.
So that's 46, and then the other 2 seasons that I think made the short list. So we have 48. Obviously, that season has also 3 players. We have Kyle, Camilla, and Joe. Obviously, like I think all 3 of them deserve to be here. Kyle and Camilla were such a dynamic duo where one of the 2 of them was winning the game. And then you could have made the argument Joe could have won the game, but the biggest element for Joe is obviously with Eva, that they are a dynamic duo in some ways as well. And obviously Joe has this massive moment in that episode with helping Eva with one of her episodes. And so I think all 3 like make sense. Would I necessarily have had all 3 of them back at the same time? Probably not, but they're important to the show.
Shane, go ahead.
Oh, I agree with that. It's not the most exciting season, but like character wise, it's you have 3 of them coming back, and that's the season that everyone saw like a couple days before leaving for 50. So I think that's going to have an influence.
Yeah, 100%. I do think that will have an influence as well. Lindsey?
I agree. I think it's worth watching for like old school Survivor vibes in the new era, because you kind of feel it in this season. But agreed with Shane here again. All I can think about before they flew off for season 50 is they just watched Kyle win. They watched Camilla. They watched Joe. And I don't know how it's not on everybody's minds.
Yeah, I think it's going to be prevalent to the season of how it plays out, honestly. I think it's going to affect Camilla probably the most, unfortunately. And we met Camilla. Camilla's great. I love Camilla. I want her to do well, but I'm definitely nervous that she's not going to, because people know about her and Kyle, and like I think again she's going to be more affected. Also based on information that we know.
Yeah, it's looking like one person will maybe make it through, because I mean it's 3 of them. Everyone just watched the finale. They were all there. Why would you want to work with them unless you could vote them out or if they're less number?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe Savannah and Rizgod could get control of them. I don't know.
I think Joe's going to make it the farthest of the 3, just because I don't see that anybody is going to have a reason necessarily to want to get rid of Joe super early, and then I think he's going to win some challenges as well. So
yeah, he's lovely. He's good at challenges. You like him along as a person. You just watched him get 0 votes on the last season. Why wouldn't you take him?
He did get 1 vote from Cedric, but
oh, my bad. Sorry, Cedric.
Yeah, he was still 3rd place.
Yeah, he's still 3rd place. Yes, but he didn't get 0 votes.
My bad. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. All right. Well, you mentioned Rizgod and Savannah the last season. We have his 49, obviously the most recent season. They are both obviously huge players in the season. They really dominated everything that happened. Obviously, Savannah just won the game, and Rizgod was someone that really defined the evolution of strategy in Survivor. 1 season ago, I mean, nobody has ever bluffed an idol that many times and gotten away with it. And like as a character, I think Rizgod is also super relatable, despite everyone thinking that he would be very cringe going in, and probably some people still think that. But I think
I could not agree more with that, because I was very worried going in that I would hate him, and I really enjoyed him.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite players, and to say that is like after that season just ended is crazy. But like I just related to him a lot, and also just like was entertained by his gameplay.
Yeah,
100%. I never wanted to use the word like Rizgod, but now it's in my vocabulary. It's now on my phone. It's auto-corrected. He's the Rizgod. What Rizzo does really well is he's both a combination of very strategic player and a character, and that's hard to see in the new era. I think he encompasses both.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we have that short list. So we want to cut down to 10.
No.
So yeah, this is going to be
hard.
But the best for 50. I mean, I think Micronesia has to be on this list. Just looking at it, so that is a must. I think Tocantins has to be on this list. I think Heroes versus Villains has to be on this list.
Yep.
So that's 3 right there.
You cut in China. Keep going.
Let's see. I think David versus Goliath has to be on this list.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's 4. I mean, I think we discussed it. As much as I don't like the season, I think 46 is important. But
I agree, but I also think like 46, 48, and 49 are almost equally important. Yeah. And like we don't need all of them. So could we pick 1 or 2? And if we had to, I would lean away from 46, because I think the 3 people from 48 is more concerning to everyone on the cast than the 3 from 46.
Yes.
And then the one thing everybody's talking about is the 2 unknowns from 49.
Yeah,
I'm going to read 48 or 49.
Yeah,
I love Genevieve. She played a great game. I think we can eliminate that season.
Or we didn't have 47. It was 46.
My bad. Never mind.
40, but no, 40. I agree. I mean, no one is more excited than me to cut that.
Let's cut 46.
Yeah, 48 is probably the more important anyway, and 49. So I'd agree with that. All right, and then I honestly want to keep Borneo, or at least like I just feel like that season should be highlighted for kicking this all off, even though Survivor chooses to kind of ignore it. So
could we argue All-Stars versus Borneo, or do you think we need to make a distinction? Because I feel like it's either one or the other.
So because All Stars is huge for Jenna's journey, 100%. I don't think it's as important for Colby's, just because I think Colby's is most remembered for Australia and Heroes versus Villains, and All Stars is just there in the middle. But like,
Borneo then, because we're starting people at the beginning. It's a journey. Let's start there.
I think we have to start at the beginning, because if you have Borneo and then you have 49, I think bookending those I think is important in my opinion.
That makes sense. Yep.
So, all right. So then I think Palau and Guatemala, I think we should only have one of those. I do agree with Shane that Guatemala, she's probably going to play more like that season, but I think Palau, everybody remembers Steph's journey in Palau more than they say Guatemala. The show, again, collectively forgets Guatemala's existence. Unfortunately, not saying they should, but they've honestly pretended like Palau only matters like Heroes versus Villains. They literally only talked about Stephenie's first season.
So what do you guys think about differentiating them? Because I personally like Palau. I think Guatemala is better for season 50. So where do you guys fall?
I'm okay giving Guatemala some love. I do think Palau, just like of like Stephenie, how Stephenie is going to be remembered. But I do agree with the points you guys have made. So I'd be cool with giving Guatemala more love for people listening, that they should check out Guatemala instead.
Yeah, because I mean, I agree. Her legacy is remembered from Palau, but if you want a preview of how she's probably going to play on 50, then I think Guatemala is the way to go.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense. So Guatemala.
Yeah, let's do it. So so Cook Islands is another one. I think we've already touched on that enough, but
Sorry, we're out.
Yeah, I mean, should we go this for? I guess it's Cook Islands or South Pacific, and obviously we have 2 coach seasons already. They're featuring all 3 of coaches seasons for the top 10. I don't know that we need all 3, despite South Pacific also having Aussie, but I don't know. Like, I just feel like Cook Islands at least shows peak Aussie, like the one everybody remembers more so, of like, he was the jungle boy. He was the one who, again, tied the record that was set before him, and like really kind of led to Survivor as we know it in many ways. With,
I mean, to this day, they still talk about him in the pole challenge, holding on to the top.
Yeah. So I honestly want to say Cook Islands over South Pacific, but
okay, I'm fine.
I'm like 50-50, so you choose if you want to do Cook Islands. Let's go. I like both.
Yeah, I want to go Cook Islands, I think.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so we have Borneo, Australia, Guatemala, Cook Islands, Micronesia, Tocantins, Heroes versus Villains, Coron, David versus Goliath, Edge of Extinction, 48 and 49. So we need to cut.
Don't hate me.
more.
We need to cut an Aubry season.
I agree. To me, Coron out of these is like the most middling season. Like I think it's just like a middle of the road season at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that leaves 1 spot left, and I do think Australia has a lot of importance, but I'm maybe not as high on the season as a whole, but I do acknowledge its spot in Survivor history. So, but I guess it might be between that and Edge of Extinction.
So we're fully thinking about it from like the viewers, right? Like seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah. I mean, Heroes versus Villains already is going to have Colby, just not in the most flattering lights.
Yeah.
Well, what I love about Australia is it really shows a light how important Survivor is, and like the characters and how strategically can like work throughout the days, and it's beautiful, and it shows the location. It just really is a heart of Survivor. Then you take Edge of Extinction. It's not quite new era, but we're starting with a quick gameplay, and you have Devens. You also have Aubry on that season. So it's hard. Like, they're both great in different ways. It's hard to pick between the 2.
Yeah. Shane, what do you think?
It's tough. I would probably lean towards, just in the context of like preparing for 50, I would lean towards keeping Edge of Extinction, because we already have Colby, and like, yes, it's not his best, but it's also the legacy he's coming in. Like, everyone's questioning what's Colby going to be like, because in Heroes versus Villains, he was terrible. And even Colby has said that. Nobody's really talking about Colby from Australia. And I think Devens is important, most likely. So therefore, Edge of Extinction would be the one I would keep.
I agree. I was leaning toward that too. And Survivor 50 is going to be an all returnee season. Not every season we listed as something to watch has returnee players. So that could perhaps give you an idea what it might be like to see what it's like as a returning player. So they can maybe like casual audience have expectations.
I agree. All right. So we'll cut Australia. So master list for best for 50. You should watch Borneo, Guatemala, Cook Islands, Micronesia, Tocantins, Heroes versus Villains, David versus Goliath, Edge of Extinction, 48 and 49. So that is our massive episodes and seasons to watch for newbies and to prepare for 50. So we hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, subscribe, like, share, comment. That's really important to us. Help us hit that 500 subscriber mark. Yeah, thanks for joining us, and we will see you all next time on the Tribe of Nerds.